Hi, this is Jay Marshall. I'm the Director of Career Development at the Saremi Center for Career Development. Unfortunately, I'm not a film director, as will become abundantly clear as you see a number of our different videos. I apologize for the headset. I have one of those voices where if I'm not wearing one and I'm using my laptop, you won't be able to hear me. I won't be able to hear me, and it'll break down into some sort of horrible pantomime that's not even interesting to look at. So bear with me. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And hopefully that's working. Boom, there we go. So our whole message is about opening doors, which I'm going to talk a little bit about. This is still me. I'm the one on the right. And prior to this, we hadn't been able to keep our doors open during the pandemic, and it's like our mission statement to open doors. We actually would prop them open every day before the pandemic, and then we had to keep them closed. So we're very excited to be able to open our doors again, and we literally prop them open. I also have an open door policy for my office, because we really want you to feel comfortable that this is your space where you're free to come in and be able to access the services. We have computers for your use. They've actually been updated since last year. So they actually don't run on Windows 7 anymore, which we're very appreciative of. So they're good computers. You can log in and then log off, and it wipes away everything you put in there so someone else can't come along and either steal your information or worse yet, fill out their own work study job application and then have your email in place there as the contact. So that's something. And, we actually try to have the smell of coffee at all times, snacks, and really make this a warm and comfortable space for you. So that's why the open doors are so important. And again, we want open doors for you in your career and your future endeavors as well. Why are we here? Well, I want to give a little bit of an overview of what the center provides, what we can do. We do those basic transactional services that hopefully you can find in any career center at any institution of higher education. Things such as resumes. Not everyone's naturally good at writing these. Maybe it's not something that you've done a lot of. We're here to help. We'll tell you what's right about it, what's wrong with it. And we want to provide that service. Also, cover letters. You may be thinking to yourself, what now? So cover letters usually accompany the resume. And we want to make sure that by the time you graduate, you know how to master both the resume and the cover letter so that you're able to compete successfully for the jobs you're interested in. Now, baristas are some of the most important people in my life, but that doesn't necessarily mean you want a career making cappuccino for me. But if you do, I'll probably just have a black coffee. So my order is actually pretty easy not to mess up. And I'm a good customer. I keep coming back. Some people call that addiction. I'll probably be on the next episode of that series next year. We also can help with mock interviews. If you're like me, maybe you sweat through your shirt every time you go to do an interview. We have a number of different services that can help you with that, including an online platform called Standout that'll actually allow you to see tape of yourself answering random questions. So you can actually see that you're actually doing pretty good at it. And maybe there's just some fine tuning, maybe not using like, maybe paying mind to how many times you say, and you can actually set it up to round robin. So it just blasts questions at you in no particular order so that you don't get kind of too scripted and comfortable with it. So you can do a really good job. One thing I failed to mention is that we'll actually be coming to your Apex courses about resumes and cover letters in the future. Apex is 2 and I think Apex 3. I don't have the syllabi in front of me, but let's go with that. It sounds good. So we'll be here to help you with that. Now, after you graduate, we're always going to be here able to assist you with job searching. So if there are part-time jobs you're looking for, maybe we can help with that. We certainly have a number of work study opportunities that you could apply for, but maybe it's something you're looking to do off campus. Well, we have some of those as well. And maybe it's something in addition to. We get job postings from all over on our job database, and you can find them there. But we're also always available to provide some support and ideas. I've worked with a lot of people applying for work over the years, so there may be something I'm thinking of that maybe you hadn't thought of. We can be a resource. You may not know what you want to do with the rest of your natural life. And in reality, even if you did, that career might only have a life cycle of 7 to 10 years, and you might need to re-career. Regardless, we can help you figure out what that thing is. There are a number of psychometrics tests. We have the MBTI, we have the Strong. We can point you in the direction of So Can You. All these different resources that you can use to kind of get a better sense of yourself and what career might be a good fit for you. We are also the campus home of work studies. So if you're interested in jobs, that's something that we can help with, and we'd love to talk to you more about student employment, as we like to call it, on campus. We are also the home for internships. And so, there are a number of internships listed in our database. Your faculty member may have some thoughts on what might be a great opportunity for you. And sometimes there just isn't a match for your skill set, what you're looking to do later in your career. And that's where we can help you to find an opportunity to kind of build on that. And increasingly, we're moving more and more towards experiential learning opportunities for students. So this is really important stuff. You probably hear the heat kicking on. And I know I look like an air traffic controller, but there is no jet. That's just the HVAC heating system. So one of the things we really want to kind of plant as a seed is that you're going to be using LinkedIn. Eventually in the Apex program, one of your assignments will be to create a LinkedIn profile to enable you to build your network. And even now, I want you to have this in mind. Your coaches, your faculty, your classmates, family, friends, all of these folks are potential people who could be on LinkedIn who you could connect with and can help you to build a self-sustaining network that'll actually feed you employment and other opportunities throughout your career. And it's also sort of like your professional listing in the yellow pages. I just realized that none of you probably had the joy of going through a giant, thick book looking for a phone number. We used to do that, and we would call it the yellow pages. Instead of Googling or checking out Yelp, we would actually go through this giant book to try and find something. So say I wanted to get a tune-up, I'd flip through this giant book and try to find the category that would fall in. You can now do in seconds, which would have probably taken me hours years ago. We have 4 years together, maybe more in the case of some of you health science majors who are on a 5-year or a 6-year plan. And there are milestones that you can actively be working on so that when you graduate, you're ready to pursue your career. And we are actively and eagerly here to help you with those. Additionally, worth knowing that we are committed to chaos theory, happenstance, and design thinking. Now, chaos theory really dates back to kind of the notion, maybe some of you have seen an Ashton Kutcher movie called The Butterfly Effect, and it's really has absolutely nothing to do with chaos theory, except it references the butterfly effect. And there were these meteorologists who were building these weather forecasting models, and they found that they could get pretty good within a couple of days, but then after that, they started to break down because something as simple as, this is in place of CGI, a butterfly flapping its wing across the globe was enough to mess up weather patterns all over the world. That's kind of how we look at the future, in that it's really hard to predict where jobs are going. We actually have a labor shortage right now. Will that continue? If you want an entry-level job, you might be able to get a sign-on bonus or more than minimum wage. And maybe that continues, maybe with inflation rising, who knows? And that's really where chaos theory comes to play. It's trying to be able to be adaptable, to be able to meet the challenges, even when you don't know what those challenges are going to be. There's also something called happenstance theory, which I'm going to simplify it, really comes down to making the most of all the opportunities that do come across you. So for example, if I'm out on an internship, I'm getting all the names of all the people at the internship as possible contacts for the future. I'm doing a really great job of an internship so that I'm getting a very strong reference. And maybe if an opportunity opens up at that site and I'm interested in it, I might have the advantage in getting it. That's all taking advantage of those opportunities. And that's really at the heart of happenstance there. And then finally, our friends at Stanford University, the Cardinal, they came up with this thing called design thinking, which is kind of approaching your life as an engineer. I know that sounds kind of horrifying, but bear with me a minute. It's this notion that you actually design in your notebook little dashboards of how you're doing in the various parts of your life, and you prototype things, you try them, you say, you know, I think I'm kind of interested in this field, I think I'm interested in this career, maybe I'll go try it. Maybe I'll go do an informational interview, which you'll learn about future in the APEX series. So I guess I'm giving you a lot of foreshadowing for your courses. But let's prototype it, try it, and see what works, see what we like, see what you didn't like, and then we can kind of build on that. All of these have one thing in common: doing something, taking action and moving forward. And so that's really important. Something's going to happen if you do something, as opposed to, you know, there is a tendency sometimes to get locked into the paralysis of analysis, of overthinking it and never actually doing. A lot of times you learn by the doing, even if it's a mistake. It's invaluable what you can learn from that mistake. And so we encourage you to take advantage of that. Currently, we are using Purple Briefcase to power our AIC Swarm Jobs system. And that's where you can find internships, work study, other jobs, helpful information about your career. We are exploring the possibility of possibly shifting to something called Job X, which would align our work study system and payment methodology with our job database. And we're really excited about it. Hopefully that comes through and you'll be able to see it when you come back for your sophomore year. Again, foreshadowing. This is what the current system looks like. You put in your email address, you put in your password. There's ways to optimize it. I actually created a burner account for my dog, which you can see here, and he's at 70%. I've actually recently saw a student was at 100%, very impressed with that. And a lot of different features that you can use. You can upload your resume or cover letter for me to take a look at without actually having to come into my office and get trapped when I start telling one of those stories about music bands on MTV back in the 1980s. There were probably still people trapped in my office trying to get out of one of those stories. You know, we have a certain template we like to use for resumes, as you can see here. It's being featured there. All these different videos. There's even listserv kind of chats that you can get into. And there's opportunities to find out about mentoring and other different types of services. I mentioned the Standout platform. This is this great resource. You can use it now. You can use it indefinitely. As long as I'm here, you'll have access to it. And so I always like to ask questions when I don't have a live audience because I don't get stumped as much. But we want to encourage you to take advantage of the services at the Saremi Center. We're excited to work with you for the next 4 to 6 years, and we wish you the best for the coming year. Thank you.